This video will illustrate the process of adding formulas to a Google Sheets document. Let's begin with some dummy data that's set in place, formatted nicely. I pulled it from another website, but basically it's dates, regions, some text, some numbers, and basically we're going to take the number of units and the unit cost, we're going to multiply them together to determine the total earned from a transaction. So anytime you want to do the formula yourself, you just type the number in. Anytime you want the spreadsheet to do the calculation, you lead with an equal sign. The equal sign says, here comes a formula. And this will be a very straightforward formula. We're going to take the units times the cost. So when you click on that, you can see that added to the formula, both in the cell and up here in the formula bar, E2, the location of the first units. And then I'm going to type in a multiplication symbol, which is Shift 8. And now I'm going to click on the unit cost. And although it does have a little item that shows what value it will expect to make, it does in the formula show its location in both the formula bar and in the cell. When I press enter, it applies it, and there we go. I'd like to go ahead and do this again, but what I don't want to have to do is every single one of these to go through that process. It could get tedious, especially if I'm dealing with thousands of lines of numbers. So instead, I'm going to click on this one, and this handle here is notice that the cursor changes when I hover over it. This handle allows me to apply this formula over a data set that I drag it to. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it straight down, and you can see the outline coming with, and I'll let go. And each of these items now have the formula applied. The next thing I noticed is that I'd like this numeric data to be clearly about money. So the unit cost and the total should be formatted slightly differently. These all happen to have, nope, this one didn't have the .99. So some of these have a single decimal, some have no decimals. Let's make them look a little bit more uniform by highlighting the cells involved, going to Format, and it says, oh, I know you've got numbers, and what types of numbers would you like? Number, percent, scientific, currency. Let's use that. And that looks much better. I could do the same thing with dates. These dates are all formatted a certain way, but we could come back and look at the number, and we've got date. We can go with date and time. So I guess there's fewer options for that, but they've clearly applied it there. All right, let's add a second formula to this Google Sheet, and let's go ahead and calculate the average values of units, costs, and the total earned by each of these transactions. Now I can type average in here, but it doesn't look very good. I want to get the same label convention as I did up here. So with the total or any of these labels selected, I can use this, the Paint Format tool, and now apply the selected format to where I click Next. There. And that looks pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and add a formula here to determine the average for the numeric values that lie above it. So the way that works, again, anytime I want the spreadsheet to do the calculation, I lead with an equal sign, and in this case there is an average command, but I'm going to pretend I don't know it just to make a slightly more complex formula to show that you have a way to do this yourself. I'm going to say, give me the sum of, and I'm going to use parentheses to collect the values that are involved. I want you to make the sum of all these values, and then I'm going to divide by the count of all those values. And I'll do the same process. Notice that it's highlighting and giving me contextual clues about what it wants. I'm not reading them now, but it just means that when you do this, you'll have some support along the way if you need it. All right, so on average, each order had 52 1/8 units. So let's go ahead and do that same thing for the other two columns. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to drag the handle at the bottom right hand corner of the cell across and apply it there. And it did notice that these were also currency based on the fact that the data going into those was currency. Now that we've done this use of formulas, I just want to show you that the formulas have an additional benefit over us doing a calculation ourselves, even if we could do it equally fast on all of the data. And that is that when the values change, the formula will reflect those changes. So let's say that Representative Jones, who sells binders in the East region, instead of 60 units, let's suppose that Jones sold 600 units. What we're going to notice is this value should change and this value should change. Let's see if it happens. Yes, so the calculation is based on the location. So when the data changes, all it does is incorporate that adjustment and change itself. The average went from 52 to 85. That's correct. Good. So we have, every time we make a change, let's go down to 900 pencils in this one. Yep. And we can see the changes apply all over the place. So that's what you need to know about making formulas. There are definitely more complex formulas. There's definitely many types of formulas that would apply much differently than financial ones or mathematical ones. And if you're looking for one to apply to your area, a simple search with either Excel or Google Sheets and the type of formula you're looking on, a search will result in a number of options that you could choose to apply.